you don't mind me asking, what is Young Mian?
Yeah, Mian is Yang's the family name, and Mian is the cotton or soft. So in China, there's a system called Mian Tran, and you know Tai Chi used to be called Mian Tran before it was Tai Chi. It means a cotton boxing or soft boxing. So the Mian Tran is a certain system over there, and so my teacher, Master Yang, he's in Sydney here, about 3 hours from here. His family lineage is in Mian Tran. And his father taught him, but he learnt from Hainan, I think, is the Shaolin master. He's on YouTube. If you type in one finger Zen, like there's a Shaolin master doing a one-fingered handstand with his legs up against the wall. So that was his teacher, or one of his teachers. So he was taught Shaolin from him directly when he was in his teens. So the Yang Mian is a system of 12 different systems. But the Mian Tran, some Shaolin boxing, monkey boxing, drunken boxing, Tongbei. I think there's some form of Chen style in there too, but I don't know all the system, like all the systems, but it's a system of 12. And it's a system that I remember one of them saying, one of the guys who was really good at the system, he said, we're kind of the black art. He said, you know, we can copy other systems and work out how their engine works, and we can copy what they do. But he said it's very difficult for people to copy what we do. And it's quite a nuanced system how the engine works for Yang Mian. It's a lot of compressive boxing. There's steel body is a big part of it. So you're training internal compression so that your body can withstand hits, like pretty much all over the body. So it's a fighting, designed for fighting. It's designed for internal training. But yeah, you feel like when you practice it, like your whole body's blown up, like there's air inside your body, air getting in the tissue even, like there's just more compression, and it's training the fascia really strongly. So there's a certain way the breath has to be done. If you do the breath wrong, you can really injure yourself, even die, because it's got to be really specifically taught. But yeah, the Yang Mian, so it's why it's Yang is because his family system training Yang Mian. Then he learned of his father. Then he had a series of enlightenment experiences, so about 3 of them. And each time he had one, he just knew how to do stuff. And one of them was with the linking. So one feature of Yang Mian is that it links things. So he said I can do 32 elbow fa jings on the one breath, and I'm like that's crazy. But the kind of linking is like a bungee boxing. So there's like this links over here, up. Around it's just all this sort of shaking and this link all the time, that this one links to this one, bang bang, that sort of stuff. So it's always training this bouncing all the time, but it's not just bouncing from an arm or bouncing from the pec, contracting and then releasing, but it's all dantian. Everything moves from the dantian, so the dantian moves like a gyroscope, and it's 3-dimensional boxing, a big focus on elbow boxing. And the way it's trained, it's got base power training, which is very clear about developing forces. So the first one's developing this elbow. So it's developed in a certain way. The bodies will be held a certain way, a certain breath they do. The breath is, they call breath cutting. So you're breathing into the dantian and then letting some air come out. So there's this, you're letting pressure out of a valve. So you're pressurizing the dantian area. And then when you do the breath, you're letting it all and holding the body, so the fascia can be trained to hold this compression. But if you don't let the breath out, it can cause big problems in the head. Just the same as weightlifters when they do the Valsalva maneuver. When they're at the bottom of the lift, they shut the breath off, so it increases pressure inside the abdomen. But it increases intracranial pressure. It can be very bad, and like blood pressure can go up to 200. But it's just that momentary one. But if you're doing, thousands of these with that breath cutting and not letting the breath out, that's what can give people strokes and aneurysms and all sorts of stuff. So there's a certain way the breath has to be released. And they do 6 different things. So this is Wei Bei has developed the turtle shell of the back. So you withstand hits from the back. Then a lot of the Paydar is used from that too. So they do all Paydar for toughening the body, running into each other with shoulders, and people running from one side of the room to the other and beating shoulders, beating back, beating ribs. So that's a big part of the training. So the elbows, the peta, that way they're called steel body, and the calligraphy elbow. And calligraphy elbow is to do with, it looks like, because it's all big three-dimensional motions that can be small or really big, and it's designed to cover the entire body so you have power in every direction, all based from the Dantian power. The calligraphy is like you're drawing on a big invisible calligraphy board with a brush. You're just drawing all this stuff. Then there's moves that come out, but what you're doing, you're hooking onto someone's arm and then drilling in and whatever. So that's why he called it calligraphy elbow. And now he's got calligraphy yoga as well. So he's he combined his ideas into internal training with a high-level yoga teacher in Sydney, and they developed this system of yoga that he said, within a month, people, you can draw on someone about a meter away and they'll feel the energy moving. And he said it's a qigong form of yoga. It's designed to develop the energy. So he's focusing on that at the moment. But when I first met him, he goes, because he's on YouTube with all his stuff, but he's two-finger river rock. And he uses river rocks because they're all different densities. You can't just tell they're going to be the same density. And he's doing this swirling here. Then he just bang in the river rock that's probably about that thick, and the thing busts in half. And smashing rocks with this part of his arm, and wrapped iron wire around the waist, do the guebe and the wire tears. So they're all demonstrations of just the power. That's all. But when I first met him, he's like, yes, he doesn't speak English that well, and he's like, it's like a sword, and I can feel the energy just coming out from here. So what the hell is that? And then so we trained with him for about 3 hours that day. And when I got home, I didn't sleep all that night. I had more energy I've ever had in my life. So he's got the qigong stuff happening. So that's the Yang Mian. But they're very clear about 6 different base power exercises. Get all the forces going, then you combine them all through the calligraphy work.